Okay, hello today, YouTube. Today I just want to do a quick video on ways to get a good used vehicle. I did a video on what to look for when buying a used vehicle. Now I'm gonna do a little video on what to do to buy a used vehicle, maybe get the price dropped from like $5,000 down to like 35 or 3, maybe something like that. Okay, so where to start? Well, you're gonna want to when you're buying a used vehicle, you're gonna want to know going in how much the vehicle is gonna cost. You're gonna want to know like how much one of these vehicles that you're looking at, whether it be a Honda CRV or a Toyota RAV4, Ford F-150, Chevy Silverado, any of that stuff. You're gonna want to know what to look for and how much those vehicles typically cost when buying used, and what condition it is. So, like if you find a vehicle, let's say this truck for instance, this one I got was in fair condition. It still kind of is in fair condition to be honest because it needs a bed, but so fair condition. I knew the price going into this, and I knew how much it would cost for me to fix this truck up, meaning front brakes, the bed. Um, it needed a coolant. There was a slight coolant leak. It needed lights in the front. It needed a couple of our small minor things. And I knew going in how much I would want to spend on this truck. I didn't want to spend over $800, and I actually talked the guy down from 5 to 3, so it gave me a lot of leeway to fix this truck up. Now that being said, this truck I know goes for quite a bit of money when it's in good condition. These Ford Rangers can go anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000, depending on the year. If it's a 2011, it might go for like 8 or 9, 10, even 11,000 if they're in really good condition with low mileage. So you also want to look at your mileage. You want to look at how the vehicle's been treated. You want to see what kind of features the vehicle has. Like, does it have Bluetooth? What year is it? Does it have Bluetooth? Auxiliary cord, CDs, heating, air conditioning. Well, it should have heating regardless, but all these things like power windows or roll up windows, power locks, just normal hand locks, mirrors. You want to look at all this stuff to make sure you're getting a good deal, because the thing you're also going to be looking for amongst all this stuff that you're looking at, you want to be looking at what kind of vehicle problems it has, what kind of problems the vehicle has. That being said, if you're going out and buying a carbureted engine car or truck, let's say from the 60s or the 70s or whatever it might be, if you're looking at a engine with a carburetor and somebody puts online it ran, now it's not running as good as it should, it's not running smoothly, it might be a carburetor issue, or even a fuel injection vehicle might have the same type of problem. That can mean just the carburetor is a little gummed up. It just needs a little taken apart, maybe clean. And fuel injection is a little bit more complicated, and all it might take is some seafoam. I've had that happen with a few of my ATVs, four wheelers, and stuff like that. All I did was put a little bit of carburetor cleaner in it. It usually cleaned it up. There was times where I had to take the carburetor apart and clean it, but then I got it for a much lower price because they said it wasn't running properly. So I got it for um several hundred, even $1,000 less than what it should have been costing me. So like my dirt bike, I bought that for I believe 300, something around there, and the bike itself I couldn't find one for under 1,000, and I got it for like less than 500 because the guy thought there was something wrong with the engine. Meanwhile, it was just a carburetor that needed to be cleaned. That was it. So there's stuff like that. When you find something wrong with a vehicle, that can be your best friend. Now, that being said, when you find something wrong with a vehicle, don't be afraid to talk about it. So, if the vehicle needs brakes, and even if it says like an ABS light is on or whatever, if there's a check engine light, ABS light, gas cat, it doesn't matter what is on. If it's on, make sure you use that to your advantage, because that can help you lower the price. Now, there is going to be things where you're not going to think, well, that's not a big deal. I'm not going to even mention it. Yeah, mention it. I don't care what it is. If it's something as simple as there's like a little scrape on the hood, there's just like a little scrape going down the side, mention it, because that can bring down the price even $100, which would be nice. You can say, well, now I gotta get this hood repainted. That's gonna cost me more money. So can you do me a favor and drop the price just a little bit, because even $50, might drop, and that might be worth it. Even the mirror here might be cracked or whatever, or scraped. That you might say that's like another. I'm not even sure how much it's go for, to be honest. I'm just throwing out a number. Let's just say $30 for this mirror. You can just say, well, that's another $30 here. Can you drop the price like another 15? Something like that. Anything that you find wrong with the vehicle, make sure you mention it. Like if the vent is broke, if one of these vents are broken, or the shift knob or shifter if it's a manual, or the floor has uh, rusted out spot, the seats if they're bad shape, any of that stuff, any and everything that you see, mention it, because that can always help you bring down the price, regardless of what you're buying. Even if you're buying a freaking Ferrari and the Ferrari needs brakes all the way around, that can, I mean, obviously, if you're buying a Ferrari, you're probably gonna have a little bit more money than a lot of other people might have, but still, you get my point. Regardless of what you're buying, an SUV, minivan, truck, car, sedan, whatever it may be, if you find something that's wrong with it, use that to your advantage. Now, there is a point in time where you're going to be looking and you're going to be thinking that, well, do I want to put this money into this vehicle? Do I want to spend the money to get the brakes, the bed, if it's a truck, or just stuff like that fixed? Now, if you do, and you're able to get the truck, car, SUV for a really cheap price, and you have the money to put into it, then that's great. But if they don't want to budge, and it's really expensive, you know it's too expensive, then just leave it alone. Odds are, if it's like that, and it's really expensive, and there's things wrong with it, it's not going to sell, and they'll probably either do one of two things. They'll get it fixed, actually one of three things. They'll get the things fixed on, and put it back for sale with the things fixed for the original price, or maybe a little bit more, or they might just leave it there for months on end until some sucker buys it. Somebody buys a thing. Oh, $800 for this rusted out thing that maybe has a year left. I'll buy it. Why not? Or somebody might, or they might just put the thing away for a winter, or or bring it back out a couple years later. They'll leave it in storage and then bring it out for a little bit less money, or put it somewhere or at a different location for a little bit less money, something like that. So when you're looking for used cars, it's always important to know what you want to spend and what you want to. I'm trying to just say, like, you always want to be sure you know what you're getting yourself into. That's a big thing. So, like, for this truck, I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew I needed, like I said, the brakes, bed. It needed lights in the front because the lights in the front were extremely dim. Not the assembly, just the bulb, which is luckily. I knew that I needed an AC recharge. There was a slight cooling leak. I knew what I was getting myself into. That's how I talked the guy down from 500 to 3, which is a good deal, I think, for his truck. I saw the exact same year truck with all the exact same features. The only difference was that one had cruise control and this one does not. That was pretty much the only difference. Maybe it had power windows. I'm not sure, but that guy, it wasn't as rusty as this. I have to admit, the bed was in good shape. It was in a pretty good shape. It was like it had about 50,000 miles, I believe. This one has close to 300. So that being said, that guy wanted like $8,000, and that just goes to show you the difference between this truck and that truck. This truck is rusty, needs some work, needs some TLC, big time, but it is still a solid little truck. Meanwhile, that one didn't need any work and didn't need anything done to it. It was good to go right off the bat, but you're going to be spending $6,500 more dollars or $7,500 more dollars than I would have on this thing. Actually, $7,700 more dollars. My bad. So you have been spending $7,700 more dollars on a truck with a lot less mileage, which is good, but it only had like one or two different little features on the inside, and it didn't need any work done to it. As far as I know, who knows? Maybe like 5 days after I buy it, the check engine light might come on. There might be a vacuum leak. Who knows? So that being said, you get what you pay for essentially, but you also want to know going in. Try and get the price as low as you possibly can. I always ask whenever I'm looking at a used vehicle, regardless of where it is, if it's a private individual or even a dealership. Dealerships, especially, they want to sell you a car, they want to get rid of it. Tell them, are you negotiable? Will you negotiate a lower price? Even if you think the price is good as is. Like if you're looking at a car with very low mileage and the guy wants $3,000 below Kelley Blue Book value, and let's say the car, it goes for $10,000 as is, but the guy wants 8. Don't be afraid to ask him, like, hey, will you negotiate a little bit lower? Even, like I say, even just a little bit of money will help. Like even just $7,500 versus 8, or $7,800 versus 8. Even that $200 is a big deal to some people. So always ask if they're negotiable, if they'll negotiate a lower price. And if they say, oh, I don't know, or they sound kind of iffy about it, odds are they might because they want to get rid of the car. But if they just say straight off the bat, no, I won't, it's firm, $8,000 firm, that's as low as I'm going, then, that's different. But, like I said, when you go there, test out everything. Just make sure everything, see what works and what doesn't work. If something doesn't work, use that to your advantage, essentially. Like I said, if there's any lights on the dash, if the horn is very weak, like you heard that, my horn is pretty darn good. But if it's really low, like you can barely hear it, then use that to your advantage. All that good stuff. Use it all to your advantage. It just helps in the long run getting you a better price. That's just essentially what it is. And I hope this video kind of helps you. So make sure, like, if you look at the interior, see if the seats are in good shape, see the floor, windows, see if there's been any accidents to the truck, or car, see if it's rusty, see what's wrong with it, see what kind of features it has, radio wise, speakers, automatic windows, or like I already mentioned that, but all that good stuff. Just see what kind of stuff it needs and see how smooth like the engine starts. If the engine starts really smooth, like that was pretty smooth. I think it's not as smooth as a brand new car, but it's better than it just trying to start and struggling. See if it hesitates or not. This one does not. All that good stuff. And yes, I know my check engine light and ABS light and gas cap are on. I already know that. But just make sure simple things like your windshield wipers, even if a windshield wiper is bad, let's say like this windshield wiper here was leaving a big streak and it was missing all the windshield wiper fluid or water or whatever it might be. Even just that, like, you can be like, well, the windshield wiper barely even works. They might throw in a new windshield wiper. Who knows, So that's just like, that's another $10 less that you'd have to spend at the store yourself and having to put it on, what I mean? So just stuff like that, just keep an eye out and see what kind of things. If you see a vehicle for sale that says, yeah, it runs good, but it needs this, this, or this, use that to your advantage. Go to the guy, if you like the vehicle, go over there and say like, well, you said it needs these three things. Keep an eye out, look around the vehicle, make sure that's all it needs, find what else it might need, and then say, well, it needs those three things. I mean, that's going to be a lot of money. That's going to be maybe even better. Do this one better. Those three things. Let's say it's your brakes, your fan isn't working properly, and the belt needs to be replaced eventually for the front of the engine. Look those things up and see how much they cost. Find the lowest price, the middle price, and then the highest price. Find what those prices are and say, and when you go there, you can say, well, I know it needs these three things, and this thing here, number one, will cost me anywhere from this amount of money to this amount of money. Number two will cost this amount to that amount, and number three, this amount to that amount. Say that, and then say, like, all together, it's going to cost me, let's say, $2,230 to get this all fixed all together. At most shops will cost right around that ballpark. So it's going to be quite a bit of money for me to get that stuff replaced. That being said, that might help you reduce the price, and the guy might be, or girl, whoever is selling, it might not just be a guy, but who's ever selling it might be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I understand it's going to be costing you quite a bit to get that fixed. That's why I'm selling it for as cheap as I am. And then you can negotiate based off that. Like, hey, can you drop the price? Like, even just $100, $150, $200, something like that. And I always go with like a low, whatever you might think the lowest price you can get for it. So if the guy wants $5,000, offer him like $2,800. And then he'll say, no, it's way too low. And then you'll have that more room between $2,800 to $5,000 to negotiate. Whereas if you just offered a guy $4,500, he might have went to $4,000, but then you won't be able to go down. So if you say like, okay, how would you take $4,500? He'd be like, yeah, I'll take that. But he might have taken $4,000 or $3,500. But after you said 45, you can't go down any farther than that. So if you get what I'm saying, just say some lower price, not like something that's going to offend him. Like if he wants $5,000, don't offer him $500. But if you offer him a low enough price, then you'll have more negotiation room between that $2,500 and that $5,000. You'll have all that room in between to negotiate. So that's just another thing to do if you're not used to it or you're new to it. It's always nice to bring a friend along if you can, or maybe even your father or somebody who knows a lot about cars. They can help you look the thing over and see what it needs. It's just nice to have two people there looking it over, an extra set of eyes. You might miss something. You might miss, there might be a crack right here, and you might just overlook it, not paying attention to being up here, and your friend might notice and be like, "There's a huge crack right here, dude." And you're like, "Oh crap, that's gonna be quite a bit to replace. I need to get that fixed now." And that's just another thing that might go in your favor. So that's just a few things that I had that I wanted to mention. And I hope this helps somebody with buying a used vehicle. If it does, that's great. Leave a comment if I forgot anything. If you think that you know anything else that you should keep an eye out for, leave a comment, and I'll be sure to address it. I'd be happy to look at what you think might also cost money. So let me know in the comments. All right, guys and girls, thank you. And I hope you have a good day and good luck buying a used vehicle if you do have one that you need to buy. So good luck with that, regardless of where you're buying it. Alright, catch you in the next video.